finally here.
Finally here at Gfinity. Summer Masters, $80,000 on the line. Got the opening game out of the way, nice win. Not as straightforward as maybe it should have been, could have been.
Yeah.
Tough first game. We wanted to talk to you about the in-game leader switch, because you've recently changed back to being in-game leader. It's kind of like a full circle thing for you. I think you've been through the role before, come back round again. But it's a bit different these days, because you guys have coaches now, so I was really interested. What dynamic does that cause? What sort of impact does that have in the team of having an experienced coach in the background and you as an experienced in-game leader? How has it changed?
I think it differs from team to team, what role the coach have. Obviously all of us have a lot of experience in NIP, so the help from Natu that we get is giving us like opinions from his perspective, because we have played for so long, like 4 guys together, and he kind of gives us another perspective of how the game should be played.
So the main strategies are still down to you round by round?
Yeah, Natu gives us input sometimes, like, oh, you should do this because they only have 1 guy defending that bomb site. He gives input, of course, but mostly we just run the similar strat to what we have done before. But when we get like caught off guard and don't do so well, that's when he mostly steps in and reacts.
What does a very good in-game leader do for their team? I mean, I know that obviously they help them, but what's the impact from having a good or a great in-game leader?
Obviously you need a lot of game sense to be in-game leader, but I think one important part is being calm and like not being stressed, because once you're stressed yourself as an in-game leader, that can like affect your teammates, and from there it just goes downhill. So I would say being calm and collective is probably the most important thing to have.
Okay. Are you all equally calm in NIP? Because you've all called at some point, haven't you?
Freiburg and Forest haven't called.
Okay.
I would say Forest is probably the most calm out of the rest.
So he's the next in-game leader?
Maybe. No, I don't think so. But Alu is very calm as well, but he's kind of the new guy, that's why I didn't count him in. But yeah, Getrat has been calling, and Fifth Line was calling as well over a period before, so yeah.
Okay, how do you cope? I mean, you said calmness, sure, and I understand that, but when it's pressure points, when it's match point, or you're on the verge of losing a big match in a major, what value does the in-game leader give to the team other than the calmness? How do you cope with that kind of intense pressure in the moment?
Well, I love the pressure when it's like...
Do you play better?
I don't think I play better, but I just enjoy it, you know. It's like 14-14, we have to win this game. Should we gamble B or should we gamble A? And if you do the right call, you can... It's so nice feeling, you know. So that's what I love about calling the most, I guess.
Okay, so the impact that you actually have on a round by round basis is that granular?
Yeah, I mean, when it's a tight round, the final, the major, I think that's when the big in-game leaders can shine. That's when the best players step forward, so to say. So yeah. So.
What happens when that goes wrong though? At 14-14, what is it like then?
It's not fun, of course, but you.
How do you cope? How do you bounce back? How do you get the team to bounce back? Do they
course,
blame you?
Sometimes they blame me if we lose, but I'm fine with that. But later, maybe they realize that it wasn't my fault, because I can blame others as well if we lose a important round when I feel I did the right call, but someone failed something. That in the end, it's a team game, and you win and lose as a team. So yeah, you're sad for a couple of days, but then you get over it and you get more hungry and you want to win more.
Okay. With the maps that we've got in the rotation, some are obviously easier than others for strategically speaking, are easier than others. Does that help you as an in-game leader? Are you able to kind of focus on the run and gun a bit more rather than thinking, oh, I've got to come up with this strategy or that strategy? I mean, a lot of the CT maps, for instance, are fairly set positions these days when you're on CT. Does that take some of the weight off your shoulder?
Yeah, there are some maps that are more that you need some more set rounds on, of course. Like we were talking about it before when we were in a slump. Like we vetoed Mirage all the time because we felt like it's not something we can do individually every round, because everything is like smoked off. It's so easy as CT to like have control, And also one of the main reasons why we didn't play it was because of the uppers, and we didn't really have that top upper before. It was Forest and Fifth Arm picking it up sometimes, but they weren't like comfortable like Guardian or someone. So I think that was the big issue for us, playing maps that were so up friendly, so to say. But I think most of the maps right now are kind of, you can play like standard rounds and getting pickups here and there, but when that's not working, that's when you need those set rounds to kind of like do the smokes and flashes, and everyone knows exactly what they're doing. I'm trying to think. Nuke was a map where you needed tactics and you needed smokes, because it was so hard as T to get those rounds, so you really needed some good rounds.
Sometimes you have, particularly in NIP, you've had players who are, the community and the fans would say they kind of go rogue. I'm thinking of Get Right at times when he seems to go off on a mission somewhere, and maybe that's tactical, maybe it's something that you've called, maybe it's not, maybe it's just his style of play. But you'll often find there are players that you have to strategically ask to do something in game or play a particular position because they're vulnerable, that they may not actually enjoy playing. How do you cope with that? How do you balance that, keeping them happy?
I mean, Get Right is one of those players that I don't call what he's doing. I'm just expecting him to do his thing, come from behind and have our backs, really. So, but yeah, as you said, there are like support players, I guess, that needs to buy the flashes and smokes on the pistol round and stuff like this. And I think Fifi, he had a similar role when he played with us, and I think I've always had that kind of role as well. But I can be on the front line as well, and I can be the guy throwing the flashes and stuff like this. But I think we have a good balance where everyone can do all of the roles. So it differs from round to round, and it differs from who's playing well and going for the enter frags. So sometimes it can be annoying being a guy throwing the flashes and being a support player and dropping weapons, but that's just something you have to do, because in the end you need to win the game. And yeah, it doesn't matter if you win.
Okay. Having returned to in-game leader role recently, you've done it before. What was the main reason behind that? What was the thinking in the team?
Well, first Get Right, he wanted to try out calling, because it wasn't working so well for us. We lost many games in a row, and then he started calling, and it went well in the beginning, but then we kind of hit the slump again. We lost some online games, we didn't qualify for the ESA league, we went out in the semifinals at DreamHack, so he was kind of like, he didn't feel like continuing. So it was natural for us to go back to me being the in-game leader again, and I think it was refreshing for me to like have a pause from being the in-game leader and like finding out new strats meanwhile, and just relaxing, just focusing on my own game, because I felt like I was underperforming individually, and probably it wasn't because I was calling. I just needed more time to like find my game again, and I could do that when not calling. So yeah, I'm happy being the in-game leader again, and it's all fun.
Get Right said in the past that as a team you're almost unique in the sense that you probably, or maybe, don't need an in-game team leader, because you've kind of got 5 strong guys who can all kind of call in different ways, and that you just sort of do that as you go along. Has that changed over the last 12 months?
I mean, the meta game goes in waves, I would say. Sometimes you can win rounds by just going out through a smoke with one flash and just win, and that doesn't take the best in-game leader to do, right? So of course in the long run you need a good in-game leader to have results in the long run. So, but I think at the time when Get Right said this, I think I have also said something similar, because at the time we were so dominant, and I think he said or I said, like, any one of us, the 5 players, could be the in-game leader at the time and we would still win. I think something in those ways, probably.
Do you think in that dominant period that you had, I think it was 89 wins in a row, 15 tournament championships, do you think that when you had that kind of dominance and now you don't have that dominance, has that been impacted by the in-game leader role?
Yeah, like I said, if you want to be successful in the long run, you of course you need a good in-game leader, right? So I think.
But I mean, is it because that's changed? Did that kind of catch you guys out a little bit because it was so easy to start with for you? It's seemingly easy for you to win everything, and then suddenly you've actually got to do it like almost every other team are doing it. Was that part of a transition? Do you feel? You know, because you obviously didn't early on. You didn't need an in-game leader really, and you had 5 strong guys, and it all went swimmingly well. But at some point it changed. But you've still managed to reach every major final. You've still managed to win one. So it seems like every iteration and variation that you've had of having an in-game leader, whether it's been you, whether it's been Get Right, whether it's been Fifth Lauren, or whether you've all kind of called, doesn't seem to have made much difference. But I'm interested in from the inside point of view. Did it make a difference?
I think, like now when Get Right was calling, he could do it for some time, but then he got kind of like tired of it, I think, and that impacted our game somehow. I think because he was tired of calling. I think no one was listening to him and respecting his call. So I kind of blame the players, not Get Right, because I think he did a good job. But I think the main reason why we were so dominant at 4 is because everyone had so much confidence and we were winning all the duels because we were so confident. But once we started losing, we lost more and more, and But I think one of the reasons why we reached all the major finals is because of experience. It's so much on the line, and we know how to handle the pressure when everything is on the line. So I think that's one of the main reasons why we.
Okay. Get Right as a caller is not something we probably ever thought we would hear over the last 8 or 9 years of watching that young man's career. He's always been the entry fragger, the guy that goes behind, the guy that picks up all the surprise kills, the guy that does the mad fragging in every round. He's we know him for that. As an in-game leader, though, do you feel that perhaps that took away some of that run and gun kind of style and attitude that he had? Maybe took the edge off his game, as it were.
I mean, of course, when you're in-game leader, you play kind of a different role than what you do usually if you're not calling. So of course he's not gonna get as many frags maybe because he feels like, oh, we're gonna do this round, but then he actually has to be in the core going maybe first, and maybe it doesn't work out all the time. So I think him being the lurker and like the mad fragger fits him perfectly because he's very good at it. So yeah, I think it can impact that.
When it comes to majors, you guys have played in every single one, in every single final, but you've only won one. And I say that with all due respect as well. It's terrifically hard to win one, and it's an amazing achievement. But the fact that you've been in 5 finals and only won one, does that disappoint you guys?
Yeah, I'm disappointed. It feels like the only final we should have lost is against VP in Katowice. That was really hard. They kind of crushed us, and all hats off to them. They played really well. But all the other finals, especially the first one, DreamHack Winters 2013, we should have won, and we should have won the last one in Cologne. It was like so close on Inferno. So yeah, the other teams played well as well. I mean, Envy on DreamHack 2014, they played well, but it was overtime. It could have tipped over the other way.
One or the other.
It was a very close final. So yeah, we feel kind of like some teams stole them from us.
Especially maybe that first one as well, because you were so dominant leading up to that.
Yeah.
And Fnatic weren't quite the force that we know of them now either, so it was almost a shock result.
Yeah, Fnatic kind of surprised everyone there, and I think after we won the semi-final against what they called Very Games at the time, because they had beat us like 5 tournaments in a row before.
Probably the best other team around.
And then finally we beat them, and we were so happy after the semi, and we kind of forgot that we had to play a final.
Happens.
Yeah, so yeah, Fnatic played well in the final, and they kind of got the momentum there on the last map, and we couldn't do anything.
What can fans expect to see from Ninjas in Pyjamas under your in-game leadership? Or will they even notice any difference in the style of play for the team? Is it that secretive a role, the in-game? Because we often talk about it as fans. We talk about the in-game leader role and how important it is. But do we really understand as fans and as watchers? Do we understand the impact of that role? Does it change the dynamic and the style of your play?
I think Get Right had a similar style as me calling, so we won't see any huge difference from a spectator view. But one of the big things I want to change now is like bring Alu into the game more. Let him like have a more freer role and kind of like take those entries with the AWP, because he's very good, obviously. And I think that he's kind of falling behind the other 4 players, and he hasn't found his spot in the team yet, like in-game wise. So I'm trying to bring him to his best level, and I think so far so good.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.